Excalibur. Install Chromatic Blade, slap melee influence, press 4 and hold melee. Nice. Or is it? What if there was more? What if I told you this is not even 1% of his true power? Excalibur has a useful passive, invulnerable dash, AoE blind, a nuke ability from 2013, and an exalted sword. To understand this frame, we must first understand what his fourth ability does, and more importantly, what it don't. Exalted Blade's normal attacks emit an energy wave, while heavy attacks emit two wider waves in the shape of an X. These waves are separate from your actual melee attacks, meaning they deal damage separately, and have the same damage as the attacks which create them. Speaking of damage, this is where most tutorials put on Chromatic Blade, tell you to change your emission color, and proceed to explain how this is the greatest Excalibur augument because status damage is OP. However, that is far from what Exalted Blade is capable of. While Chromatic Blade can slightly increase your damage if you mod for your enemy's weakness, the damage conversion doesn't work on Exalted Blade's heavy attack waves. As you can see, because of radiation's 0.5 times multiplier, our actual heavy attack does half damage. But the wave's damage isn't reduced because their damage type is not converted to radiation. Why? I don't know. But even if it worked, it would still not increase our damage in a meaningful way. If we want to reach billions, we need multipliers. And what's the easiest multiplier to get? Exalted Blade has low critical chance, so we have to subsume Wrathful Advance from Calivo. It gives us a flat critical chance bonus, scaling 1-to-1 with our ability Strength. We install Blind Rage, Transient Fortitude and Umbral Intensify to get 298%. Add Growing Power and Molt, augmented for another 85%. And we reach 383% final ability Strength, giving Exalted Blade 431% critical chance for heavy attacks with Galvanized Steel installed. We also make use of the Puncture status effect to gain an extra 25% flat crit chance on targets with 5 puncture stacks. This means we are guaranteed to multiply our damage by 4 times our critical damage, and we have a 56% chance to multiply it by 5 times, also known as tier 4 and 5 crits. But critical chance wouldn't do much by itself. We also need critical damage. The single best source of melee critical damage in the game are Torforged Violet Archon Shards. I know they are hard to get, but trust me, they are worth it. So with 5 Torforged Violet Shards installed, all we have to do is get Primed Flow and... oh wait. Anyway, so with 4 Violet and 1 blue Torforged Shard for energy max, all we have to do is get Primed Flow to reach beyond 500 energy and get double critical damage from our Violet Shards. Nice. Next, we use Excalibur's strongest augment, Furious Javelin. It gives us melee damage per enemy hit. At only 3 enemies hit, it's already as strong as Primed Pressure Point, but the best part is it's multiplicative with melee damage sources, which is why our second arcane is Arcane Fury for the 180% melee damage. The rest of the build is energy economy, duration and primed sure-footed. I recommend using Streamlined, but you can replace it for Natural Talent if you don't need energy, or Preparation if you are doing short missions. Lastly, we need a way to survive, but since we have no space for catalyzing shields, and I am not a fan of shield gating anyway, we will use Vazarin's Protective Sling, which makes us invulnerable for 5 seconds if we dash through our own Warframe. To make it impossible to miss, we equip Magus Cloud, making our dash 8 meters wide. Vazarin Dash is the reason we don't use Umbra, because while it does work on his Spectre, the invulnerability does not carry over to you. This can be fixed with the Warrior's Rest augment, but I would not replace Prime sure-footed for it. And also, you would have to former over his built-in Umbra polarities, which feels wrong. And even if you did, the 15% ability strength it gives isn't. But anyway, let's talk damage. As you can see, Exalted Blade already has a perfectly normal amount of critical damage with 0 mods installed. So naturally, we'll get some more. Galvanized Steel is perfect. It adds another 120% crit damage and also has a bit of critical chance sprinkled in. But honestly, it's just a critical damage mod. Then we have Amalgam Organ Shatter and Gladiator Might. Bring us a total of 561%, or 13.2 times multiplier to our critical attacks, which might not sound like much, but together with our high critical chance becomes a 62 times multiplier to our tier 5 crits. But we don't stop here. Exalted Blade's waves can headshot, which triples our final crit. And when headshots crit, they're also given an additional 2 times multiplier to modded crit damage, resulting in a very reasonable 384 times final crit multiplier on headshots. Now you've probably already figured this is a heavy attack build, but allow me to explain exactly what we are cooking and why. So here is what we need to know. You got that? Okay, good, let's break it down. First is our weapon's base damage times the stance bonus. Stances have % bonus damage for different attacks, so we simply multiply our base damage by that %. And we also take into account our ability strength, because it multiplies our base damage as well. Simple, right? Next are base damage mods like Primed Pressure Point and Condition Overload, but which ones should we get? Can we use all of them? Short answer is yes. Long answer is. To make it easier to understand, let's begin with no mods installed. At 100% ability strength, Exalted Blade has 250 base damage, which becomes 275 because of our passive, which is an additive source, and acts as a 10% melee damage mod. So if we install Condition Overload and apply 2 status effects, our damage should be 675 because Condition Overload is additive. And as you can see, the math checks out for our melee attack, but not the wave, because the wave is calculated differently. It has a second instance of Condition Overload applied to its base damage, resulting in 1075 damage. But we got 1073 because waves lose damage per second, and there is a tiny delay before it hits our target, even if we stand as close as possible. So formula for the wave's damage looks like this: double dipping Condition Overload. So if we use this to calculate our heavy attack wave's damage, we should deal 5,375. Do you want to take a guess at what happened? Condition Overload is multiplicative for heavy attack waves. Cool, but how do we explain the numbers? First is our regular heavy attack, which has normal Condition Overload behavior. It's the same formula as our normal attacks and melee attacks in general. Then is the waves damage we get by multiplying our base damage mods and sources with Condition Overload, then adding Condition Overload a second time. And the last number is our heavy attack's second wave, hitting a headshot which multiplies it times 3. But why did we get plus 16 damage? I don't know either. Tell me if you do. Anyway, the important part is now Condition Overload is calculated inside the base damage bracket, and that means it has to be multiplicative to multipliers like Furious Javelin. But is it? Let's find out. That's insane. But exactly how insane is it? Well, thanks for asking. So if we go back to our build, 383%, we have 42,132% bonus damage, or more, depending on how many enemies we hit with Javelin. Long story short, we install both Condition Overload and Primed Pressure Point because they scale. Rest of the formula is, there is Elemental and IPS mods, short for Impact Puncture Slash, but we only care about elements because they multiply our total damage, unlike IPS mods, which only multiply their respective damage type. Install Primed Fever Strike and North Wind, or Shocking Touch, and equip Melee Exposure, giving us 495% elemental damage, or 5.95 times multiplier. Not bad. But wait, if we heavy attack, then why not use Melee Crescendo instead? 12x combo multiplier is definitely more damage. Sadly, Exalted Blade's heavy attack waves do not benefit from combo multiplier. But that's okay, we don't really need combo. Next, we have the crit tier multiplier, which we've already covered, and the faction mods, which are absolutely better than any other mod we could install at this point. A straightforward 1.3 times multiplier to our damage, 1.55 if you have a primed one. After that are damage type modifiers, which I will not bore you with. All you need to know for our setup is if we install North Wind to get viral, we have 1.22 times damage against Aurakin. And if we get Shocking Touch for corrosive, we do 1.42 times damage against Grineer. And here is the math behind it. Lastly, there are status multipliers, which are viral and magnetic. At 10 stacks, they simply grant a 4.25 times multiplier to damage received. Viral works on health, and magnetic works on shields and overguard. That's it. We went over everything you need to know. So if you apply 10 statuses, max viral stacks, hit 20 enemies with Javelin, and get a tier 5 critical headshot, you have theoretically 47,753,672,618 damage. Wow. At this point, Exalted Blade hits so hard you don't even need critical chance to deal negative 2 billion damage. And if you use everything, well. Last but not least, our pet and our secondary, the best companion for spreading status, is undoubtedly the Hound with its Synergized Prospectus mod and a weapon stacked with damage types. The weapon's build doesn't really matter as long as it has viral and magnetic. And for the pet, all you need is Synergized Prospectus and Manifold Bond, which makes it spread status. And as for secondary, my personal choice is Epitaph. The build is nothing special, corrosive and cold. You can use any secondary you like as long as it can apply status effects. And that's it. That's everything we need. Now how do we use it? It's a simple rotation. Vazarin dash so we don't die while casting Javelin, Wrathful advance, shoot with Primer if you feel like it. And then there's a few tricks you can do if you want to try them, like heavy attack from the air. It's quite easy. You just bullet jump after your heavy attack, even easier if you slide first. And it looks cool, but is quite useless, unlike the next trick. So you know how we didn't install any attack speed mods, and our heavy attacks look like this? Well, it doesn't matter, because you can just cancel your heavy attack animation by using an emote from the gear wheel. You just have to give it a key bind in the options. Heavy attacks are not the only thing you can cancel with emotes. Just don't tell DE. I am sure it's a perfectly fine and intended feature. The last tip I got is how to headshot with your heavy attacks. You might have noticed every time I used a heavy attack in this video, one of the waves always hit a headshot. Now that didn't happen because I am so good at aiming, even though I am. It happened because the vertical wave, for some reason, always headshots if the enemy is facing you. And if it's not, you can just damage cap them from behind. But enough yapping. Let's see what this build can do.